See, dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. And you get dirt in a lot of different ways. All of y'all that had dirt thrown on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. It's somebody sharing information about you that ain't true. That everybody get dirt put on. But see, when you're getting put under that stress, please know God is always with you.
Pain isn't always bad. Sometimes it's good. Because you remember that pain and that hurt, and it pushes you to be great. There's times where you think, is there anything that can justify as to why I'm always going through something hard? Sometimes nothing ever makes sense that you're going through. I'm going through hurt. I'm going through pain. There's death in my family. There's sickness everywhere. But I tell you what, you can't throw in the towel. You can't give up. It just means it's time for you to fight harder. It's time for you to stand tall. Lift your head to the sky and say, I will overcome this. I will fight back. There's always something good that can come from bad. Why would you live a life with a negative mindset, with a negative attitude, when this life is great and you can become someone great just by the way you think, act, or react to things that happen to you? Everybody fundamentally has the same reality that you have, but we all don't react the same to things that happen to us. Deep down inside, there's greatness in each and every one of us. It depends on you if you find that greatness. But I tell you what, it's inside of you, and it's burning to come out.
When you're working on a dream, at some point in time, a transition takes place. And the transition is what you are becoming in pursuit of the dream. Because even if you don't get the dream, you become such a strong and powerful person. It will so change your life, you can look at something else and say, well, I think I'll go do this then. Because you've now developed yourself in such confidence and such competence in how to deal in the arena of life that you can move into another area and not miss a beat. Once you begin to discover who you are, then you really realize how you have been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, including all the dimensions of your life. But you can only do that through the struggle of life. And most people avoid the struggle. Most people go through life avoiding pain. And when you go through life like that, something in you dies. Something in you that you never activate is lying dormant in there, that you never get a chance to call on because you have not challenged yourself.
Every value in life must be paid for. And those that pay are the ones that get it. It says those that give, receive. Someone says, I wish to receive, I wish to receive. You don't have to concentrate on receiving. Just become a good giver. It says those that search will find. Someone says, well, I need to find some good ideas to help change my life for the future. Then to find good ideas, that doesn't come because you need them, because it comes because you search for them. If you want good ideas, you got to go after them. You got to go to the class, you got to go to the workshop, you got to go to the training, go to the book, right? You got to go to the journal, right? Go where good ideas are being taught, go searching, go looking, because good ideas are not going to be wasted on those that are not seeking, searching, well prepared. So, prepare yourself to be ready for fortune when it comes, to be ready for challenge when it comes, to be ready for opportunity when it comes. Opportunity comes along and passes by the person that is not well prepared. How could my ideas be more powerful? How could they be sharper, more clear? How could I reach some people next year that I perhaps can't reach this year? I haven't reached deep enough into my own soul to affect some people. Some people just pass by and say, hey, what a good speech. But how could I make it stronger than that, deeper than that, more powerful than that? I cannot be as powerful as I could be next year. You know, you can't go to the 10th grade in the 5th grade. You just got to go through the grades. But the more you are prepared, when the 10th grade finally comes, now you can cash in and get 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more value from it by being prepared.
until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances, after a while, something begins to wither inside of you.
You're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have a lot of trials and challenges, and everybody has the turn back moment. Where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back.
And what we have got to do is know there's a power in you that regardless of what happens to you, you can stand up inside of yourself. I think that's what the poet meant when he says, out of the night that covers me, like as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there may be for my unconquerable soul. You have an unconquerable soul.
See, some people quit because things are out of control. The moment you get in something where you don't get your way, or it's bad conditions or bad circumstances, the first thing the immature mind says is, this is ridiculous, I quit. I never will forget. I had a friend of mine who was much older than me, who was going through a real tough time in his marriage. I told him, you ought to get out. I watched him suffer so bad, I thought you ought to quit. He was so lonely that he got a dog and named it Friend. And I watched him take so many blows in his heart, in his masculinity, that it was so hard to watch. I wanted him to divorce her so I didn't have to see it. He stayed, and things got worse. And then sickness came in, and then it got really bad. And he stuck it out to the end. I mean, to the end. And I was at the funeral, and I remember thinking, you finished. You went all the way to the end. Better and worse, and sickness and health. You went through all of that stuff. It was amazing to see somebody who finished. The danger of living a life of incompletes. Nobody can count on you to stay. Forget winning. To stay. You don't have to be a superhero to stick it out, to endure. They used to come in my office and say, I'm leaving him because he's beating me. I'm leaving him because he's homicidal. Now they come in my office, they say, I'm leaving because I'm not happy. Who told you you was gonna be happy? Who do you know in your life that is happy all the time? To the person who keeps quitting, you have to live with that infection that you carry, that propensity to never finish. Are there any fighters in here? I fought my way up. I fought to get to work. I fought to stand. I fought to carry on. I fought to love. I fought to get out the bed. I fought with my fears, my anxieties, my insecurities. I fought with haters, backbiters, and betrayers. And many times I laid in the bed, I couldn't go to sleep because I was fighting with myself. I fought a good fight. You might not have seen it. You saw the glamour. But let me tell you what you didn't see. I fought to do that. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of courage. I lost a lot of money. Down on my knees, I was still believing. Lonely, I was believing. Betrayed, I was. Touch three people, tell them, keep the faith, keep the faith. If you lose a job, keep the faith. If you bury your child, keep the faith. If you have to move in with your mama, keep the faith. If you have to catch the bus, keep the faith. If you get sick, keep the faith. If you got heart trouble, keep the faith. You might not get a new heart, but you got to keep your faith.
Just keep walking, keep praising, keep thanking. That's when the miracle is going to take place. You can't go by what you see, go by what God promised you. My business is still slow. Keep on walking. These people at work are still not treating me right. Keep on walking. God sees your obedience. He hears you praising when you could be complaining. He sees you stretching when you could be shrinking back. As you keep walking, you're going to see God show out in your life. When you prove to God that you're going to do the right thing even when it's hard, then you're going to see God do awesome things in your life. Don't talk yourself out of what you know God is telling you to do. Sometimes it seems ordinary. You're asking God to promote you. He's saying, get to work on time. You're asking God for healing. He's saying, eat healthier, exercise, get more sleep. It doesn't have to make sense. That's what faith is all about. Faith makes room for provision. You can't wait till it happens. You have to make room for it when you don't see any sign of it. You have to talk like it's on the way. Think like it's on the way. Are you missing your miracle because you're reasoning everything out? You're looking at it all in the natural? God is supernatural. After Moses died, God raised up Joshua to lead the Israelites. The earlier generation never made it into the promised land. Now the children of that generation had grown up. They were headed to the promised land, but they had to cross the Jordan River. The problem was, it was the rainy season, and the Jordan was in flood stage, with violent currents rushing down from the melting snow. Joshua was familiar with this type of scene. He was there when Moses held up his staff and the Red Sea parted. When these 2 million people came to the Jordan River and saw how swollen it was, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. I can imagine Joshua did like his mentor Moses. He held up his rod and said, Lord, please let these waters part. But nothing happened. God promised Joshua, as I was with Moses, I will be with you. He didn't say, I'm going to do for you everything I did for Moses. There's a distinct calling on your life. You don't have to copy someone else, try to be what they are. Walk in your own anointing. Walk in your own calling. Joshua had to make a decision. Are we going to turn around and go back, or are we going to keep walking? Joshua's attitude was, we've come too far to stop now. Instead of turning back, he told all the people, let's keep walking. I can hear them say, excuse me, Joshua, do you not see there's a violent, raging river? There's nowhere to go? Joshua acted like he didn't hear them. There will always be people that try to convince you to turn back. You have to do like Joshua and have a made-up mind. I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to become all I was created to be. They looked back at Joshua one last time, thinking surely he's going to retreat now. Joshua answered with 3 simple words, keep on walking. The scripture says, when their feet got wet, suddenly the waters begin to push back. Miracles happen when there's obedience. God doesn't give us all the details. May not happen like you've seen happen with your family. Like Joshua, every circumstance may say, it's not going to turn around. Go back. You'll never get well. It would have happened by now. Don't believe those lies. Keep walking.
You get one shot at life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge that you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. So, learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No. Let it teach you. Let it make you better. Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now. To take action now to become a better person, filled with knowledge and strength and power and filled with life.
Some of you in this room today, you need to change your mind because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit. I don't want to just know how to make it work. I want to know why it doesn't work. And the only way I can find that out is I got to fall on my face. But guess what? The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up.
When you want something bad, you can't count the cost. Because if you count the cost and you see how much it costs, you might quit. You might give up. So you got to go in knowing that I don't count the cost. I do as many push-ups as it takes, as many sit-ups as it takes, as many reps as it takes. I study as long as it takes. I pay whatever the price is.
Every one of my successes is stacked on top of failures. You need to get a revelation today that the joy is not in the success. The joy is in trying. The joy is in the process. That I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going at it.
Only those who are willing to risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go.
Failure is forming my future. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. Failure is part of the story. It's pushing you forward.
You just do what you got to do on this one. Then you look back when it's all over and you see the reward. You look back and you see the accomplishment. You don't count it. You just look back and you see what you succeeded.
Don't give your territory over to the enemy. Now, in order to have territory, you have to have ownership. And the problem with you is that you might own territory that you don't even realize. That God has given you certain things up under your auspices and up under your authority that you've got to be prepared to fight for. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? And you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting tired. Does anybody know what it's like to be tired? Trying to hold your head up, but you're tired. Trying to be tough, you're tired. And one by 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 one, they all would sleep. Not just the foolish. I don't care how smart you are, you still get tired. I don't care how committed you are, you still get tired. I don't care how focused you are, you still get tired. Is there anybody here that can talk to me about tired? I don't mean the kind of tired you get at night. I mean the kind of tired where you wake up tired, go to work tired, eat your lunch tired, answer the phone tired, smiling tired, may I help you? Grinning at people, praise the Lord, and tired, and nobody knows that you are tired. Some of you don't understand why you are so tired right now, but you don't realize you're just counting your workload from what is happening right now. But you have to remember that the oil started burning when you started hoping. It didn't just start when you started doing. It started when you started believing something is about to happen in my life. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to get out of there. And all of a sudden the oil is burning. burning. You have to burn some oil to be able to wait. The Bible said, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount upon wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. You have to be tough to wait. You have to be tough to work all day and go to school at night. You have to be tough to take 2 part-time jobs and put them together and try to make it do. Oh, y'all don't understand what I'm talking about. You have to be tough to start a service in a storefront with 2 members and the bills are higher than you got. You have to be tough. Is there anybody in here that's gone through a tough time in your life and you were waiting on a breakthrough to occur in your life? Yeah. Same place. They all were waiting. They all went to sleep. You couldn't tell who was wise and who was foolish until the cry was made. The thing you've been waiting on is coming. How you react to challenges tells whether you are wise or foolish. And you will never completely be healed or whole until you change the voice inside of your own head.
Most people are governed by their habits, their fears, and the opinions of others. A lot of people never try anything differently because they have been convinced by people in their lives that they value that they can't do it. They're living within the context of the opinions that other people have of them, the low expectations. Many people doubt themselves because when they thought about doing something at some critical point in their lives, somebody they respected and honored, somebody they believed in, somebody that they loved, someone they trusted said, "You can't do that." And they accepted that. As you look at your life, ask yourself the question, what would your life be like? What would your life look like if you decided not to care what people thought of you? What would your life be like if you decided to give up some of your fears? What would your life be like if you decided to become courageous? What would your life be like? If you decided to act on your dream, if you did what you felt in your heart. You know what courageous means? Tom Ruskin and Randy Reed said. They said that courage comes from a French word which means of the heart. But how does it feel to you? He says it's courage, you know, it takes courage to live. Says most people go through life not allowing themselves to step out because they don't want to let go. They don't want to be blown around. They don't want to be moved. The courage to face life's whirling wind of contradictions. The courage to love yourself. The courage to love. For years, I was afraid to love. The courage to take a chance. The courage to be who you are. He says courage isn't for somebody else, for medals, applause, or moral debts. Courage is what at that moment feels most right for you. Not just situational ethics, but what feels right in your heart, the word of the heart, what feels right in your heart. One great philosopher says, cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. What does that mean? The valiant people aren't afraid? No. It means that they experience that fear and they move forward. They move forward anyhow. Many people are dead now. Many people are allowing their dreams to die. Many people are allowing their ideas to lie dormant and collect dust. Many people have all this talent and ability that they are allowing to be buried inside of them, that they will take with them to their graves because they didn't have the courage to be who they are. And I say, as you begin to look toward the future and manifesting your greatness, it's going to take everything in you, that your life deserves the concentrated effort to begin to look at how is it that I can express more of me? How is it that I can bring my ideas out here now? How is it? And start living with a sense of urgency because you're here today, you're gone today. Life is unpredictable. It's uncertain. There are no guarantees. No guarantees out here at all. So holding back, what are you waiting on? Ask yourself, what's the benefit of your waiting? What's the benefit of your not living your dream? What's the benefit of not listening to yourself? Oh, please, listen to yourself. You know the feelings. If you start listening to the feelings in your heart, and I'm doing it now more every day, I find that my feelings, I can trust them. And I say to you, that as you look toward the future, you look at life on a daily basis, if there's something that you have been given, if you've heard something within yourself that you know that what you're doing now doesn't fit for you, it doesn't work for you, it's not giving you what you want, and there's something else that you want to do, don't allow that inner doubt in you to talk you out of it, to build a case on why you can't have it, to tell you why you're not good enough. You ignore that inner voice and all of the external voices. Don't judge the possibilities for what you can do based upon the circumstances, because the circumstances won't determine who you are. Don't determine what you're able to do based upon your resources. Don't determine what's possible for you based upon where your life is right now. Where your life is right now is not you. That's just what it is right now. But the possibilities for you are unlimited. If you're in a rebuilding process, it's unlimited. If you're coming back from adversity and devastation, it's unlimited of what you can do. That's the capacity of human beings. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter how many flops you've had. It doesn't matter how much money you've lost. In fact, I see it only as an investment of what you learn from life, not losses, but investments of what's possible for you. And I say to you that once you start listening to yourself, and as you begin to act on your dream, as you start just trying to find your way, doing what you can with what you have, you will start seeing things opening up for you. You'll start attracting people. You say, where'd they come from? Things will start coming together, clicking for you. You say, whoa. You start brainstorming. Ideas will come out of nowhere as you focus on it. The key to it is to begin to focus on what it is you want to do. Why, Les? Why is that important? Because as you focus on that which you want to do, that which we focus on, that which we give our energy to, it will begin to multiply. It will begin to expand. It will begin to develop your consciousness. And out of that comes your greatness. Out of that comes a commitment. Out of that comes a passion for life. Out of that comes a special power that you have in you that you haven't even called on yet. See, the powers that we have will never reveal themselves if we don't challenge them, if we don't put ourselves in a position where we have to use them. So one of the most important things, I was reading a book that's a really interesting book called Instant Millionaire, and the guy said, put yourself in a position where you can't retreat, where it's do or die, sink or swim. Here's what you'll find out. You'll develop incredible swimming skills. You'll find yourself stroking unlike you've ever seen before. Through the inspiration of desperation, you'll become more creative than ever before. So what is it? How do we handle that whole piece? Throw your whole self into it. See, most people go at it tentatively. They don't give all their stuff. They don't concentrate. They don't put everything they've got in them. One guy wrote a book called All You Can Do Is All You Can Do. And all you can do is enough. But he said, make sure you do all you can do. And if we're honest this evening, we know that we haven't done all we can do. So as we look at the future, we can decide that from this day forward, as I look at my personal relationships, if I look at my professional relationships, if I look at my family relationships, as I look at all the dimensions of my life, looking at myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I'm going to do all I can do to develop me, to bring my talent out here, to make a contribution to life.
Can you really see through the darkness? You are wandering and you have no idea where to go. You are wandering and you have no one to turn to. Can you see? Can you see through the darkness? Can you feel your purpose. Nothing can stop your purpose. Nothing can stop what's meant for you. Nothing around you can stop what's already yours. Your destiny belongs to you. Do you feel it? Do you understand the purpose behind the darkness? It represents something. It serves a purpose. It's an unknown purpose that many of us never would understand. Can you see through the darkness? You travel down this path. You travel down this path of the unknown, and yet you are afraid. You are afraid because you don't understand it. You are afraid because you feel empty. You are afraid because no one is there to help you. I would like to introduce you to the light, to the dawn, to the beauty, to the understanding, and knowing that this is the joy. This is the joy that you must embrace. This is the moment of happiness, without any despair, without any rejections.
We are the revolution if we cease to conform with traditional, programmed, this is how you do it, reality. All the great changes of society and changes of anything, the great visionaries, all of them have been ones that have walked out of the program and taking the shit for doing so. Because out of the program is the only way you're going to push on in terms of understanding what life is about, who we are and where we're coming from. The greatest fear in the world is the opinions of others, and the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion, and a great roar rises from your heart. The roar of freedom, of being you and not someone else's version of you. Come out of the masses, stand alone like a lion and live your truth according to your own light, not someone else's version of it. Expressing our uniqueness is a revolution that will change everything, because the program depends on that not happening. It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. What's the point? Doing what is right, no matter what you are told, is the spirit of change. Because if you don't do that, you're just operating within the circle and nothing changes. You have to step out of the circle and do what you believe to be right rather than what you are told to do, to break out of the program, out of the circle, and thus move society forward. Oh, it's so simple, expressing our uniqueness. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's how you change the world. That's how you change the world. It's the only way. Jump! And you find you can fly. Doesn't mean there ain't challenges, but my God, you find your life changes and it becomes the adventure and not the chore.
Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like, we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay. Let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Wherever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment.
Your brain likes to gravitate towards what it's most familiar with. The brain loves familiar things, okay? So the more you think about something, the more you place yourself on that beach, in that house, with that amount of money, with that body, the more repetitive it is that you place yourself in those things, those places, and those situations. The more your brain becomes familiar with it, the more it gravitates towards it. You can't think about it once. It's the repetition over and over again. Your brain begins to think, oh, I belong here. We belong here. You actually eventually convince yourself literally that you belong in your dreams by the repetitive and specific thinking and visions of them over and over again. One thing to be conscious of is the RAS doesn't reveal to you necessarily what you need necessarily, because what you need has always been there. What it does is it opens you up to seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting the things that you need in order to attract them into your life. The last part of the steps that I want to share with you is that you've got to control the beginning and the end of your day with your thinking. And so one of the first things you need to do when you wake up, after you do your stretching, your prayer, your meditation, whatever it is to take a 5-minute window and control your thinking, whether you after your meditation, your prayer, whatever it is, but you take a 5-minute window and you visually see your goals and dreams. Picture them as videos in your mind. Picture them as you possessing them and see them written down on a sheet of paper. This will begin to control your mind for the day. And then at the very end of the day, what I do, one of the last things I do after my prayer, when I'm laying in bed at night, is I read through my goals and my dreams, I picture them, and I allow my RAS and my subconscious mind to go to work on them. When I get my sleep, it's going to work on revealing to me, it's playing back the video, believe it or not, of my day in my mind, and it is revealing to me the things that I may have missed in that day that could bring those things into my reality, and it helps me wake up ready to get them as well. So if you'll do that, where you wake up, you go to bed, and when you check your phone, you are going to alter those 9% of your thoughts. These are 3 key steps on changing the way you think. And we know if we can change the way we think, we change the 9% of our thoughts, we change what we obsess about, we begin to possess them. That thought opens up a new space that didn't exist before, just like that chair you're sitting in, and we'll begin to create those things in our lives. Use these 3 steps to change your thinking, and I know if we stack that up over a day, a week, a month, 3 or 4 years, and a decade, the direction of your life is completely different. You see yourself living like this.
You know what you should do? Every time you get a chance to experience first class, you should do it, because it plants a seed. It's like the next time you buy an airplane ticket, just ask for an upgrade. Pay a little extra money, fly first class. What it does is it conditions your mind. Once you get in first class and you see how wide the seats are, and you find out why they shut that curtain, see, because they shut that curtain because they can't let you see what's going on up there. They passing out hot nuts, everybody get a washcloth, they got a menu, you get to decide what you want, all the drinks is free. Once you sit in first class one time, the next time you get on a plane, it's very difficult to walk past them seats. And then your mind starts thinking of ways to get back to first class. And guess what? That's what you start attracting to your life. And you start behaving and producing stuff to get you back into first class. And next thing you know, you attract the thing you need to produce the outcome that you want. Life is all about the law of attraction. That's how you do it.
So step number 1, decide to develop the habit right now, the habit of focusing on what's right in your world instead of what's wrong. The habit of focusing on what you do have instead of what you don't have in a situation. And as basic as that is, and as well as you know it, you've got to make it a habit. Because those habits form the chain of your ultimate character, of who you become and how you end up living your life. We've got to condition ourselves, because if we don't, we'll go back to the automatic state that most people live in today's society. The way to develop the habit is to go on a mental diet. I did this several years ago. As positive as I was going through unbelievable pain at the time. I'd had some major disappointments, some frustrations. I felt like I'd given it all. But what turned me around is one day I picked up this book called The 7-Day Mental Diet. It was a little tiny little booklet. And all the booklet really did was, for about 12 of the 14 pages, it challenged me to really see if I could really truly, for 7 days, live my life without one negative thought. And it kept saying throughout the book, now don't just say, yeah, I can do it, and don't just say I'm going to do it. Think for a while before you commit to this. Don't actually commit unless you're really going to do it for 7 straight days, no matter what. It doesn't mean you don't have a negative thought. It just means that if you have a negative thought, you don't speak it. You set it aside. You forget about it. Or you replace it. If you say something negative, you go erase. What I really mean is this. Or you say, that's not what I mean. Here's what I mean is this. And you immediately focus on something good. It's not that nothing negative ever comes out. It's that you immediately do not allow yourself to hold a negative feeling, a negative thought for 7 straight days, day and night. Even when it gets tough. Even when somebody disappoints you. Even when you get frustrated. Even when you give your all and it still turns up lousy. Listen, if all I did was rant and rave on this tape and you didn't listen to anything else I said, but you took on this 7-day challenge, you can't believe what it'll do to your life. Now, I got to tell you, when I first read the book, I thought, wait a second, being positive isn't going to change my life. I got to deal with the real problems around me, those real challenges that are out there. I don't want to just be positive. Somebody says, how's it going? I go, I'm doing great. And they go, why? You go, I don't know, but I just feel good. I don't want to be that way. I want to be real. I want to be on top of things. But you know what? I thought, wait a second. I can be positive about solutions. I can still notice that there's some challenges out there without being negative about it. I can look at the challenges and say, okay, here's what's good about this. Here's how we can use this. Here's how we can turn this thing around. And continue to focus on that. So I took on the challenge for 7 days, changed my life. Now, by the way, one of the keys is you have to have 7 straight days of being absolutely positive. Not one negative thought, not one negative expression that you hold on to. Got to let go of it immediately. If you do not do this, if you're 3 days into it and you do well, and then you have a bunch of negativity, you got to start over. And you know what? After you go about 4, 5, 6 days in a row doing really well, something major negative is going to happen. How's that for some positive programming? But what it is a test to see how committed you really are. I'll tell you something. After 7 days, you feel like a different person. People around you respond to you like you're different as well. All you want to do is establish the habit of noticing what you do have instead of what you don't have. Noticing what's great about a situation versus what's not great. Focusing on solution instead of problems. That's what changes your life.
Your mind is a weapon, and you got to be able to use it and pick that weapon up and control it. Most people are out of control with their mind. They don't point it at something. They let the world point it, and they misfire all the time. So today, I want you to pick up that weapon that is your mind and begin to point it at the things you want, knowing that it's a magnet that draws to you the things in your life that you would most like to have or that you would most not like to have. And that's where most people make the mistakes in their life. So today I want you to begin with first taking an inventory of the thoughts you have that don't serve you. And I want you to write them down. And I want you to eliminate them. Step 1, write down the thoughts that don't serve you and eliminate them. How do I eliminate them? By replacement. You eliminate them with replacement by thinking a new thought. It's as simple as saying, what thought would I need to have that would serve me to get this goal or dream or vision that I have? And get that thought, write it down, repeat it over and over and over and over again. Because there's a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. And it's the filter that we see the entire world through. I talk about it a great deal in my book, Max Out Your Life. You can click the link here. There's a little bit of the description in the bio as well, or go to maxoutbook.com. You can get the book or go to Amazon. But I talk about this in the book. The reticular activating system is the filter through which you see the entire world. It's powerful. And so that's why it filters out all the things in your life that aren't important to you, so that you can be sane. You don't feel the blood rushing through your left ear. You're not conscious of your breathing. A million stimulus would hit you. If you couldn't filter things out, you'd go crazy. This allows you to only filter into your consciousness what is most important to you. And what's most important to you is what you think about all the time. And it creates a filter. For example, that's why if something's important to you, the reticular activator reveals it to you through vision, sound, touch, you name it. And so, for example, you ever buy a new car, you got a new, blue Honda car. All of a sudden, don't you see that car everywhere? It's on the third, it could be 3 lanes over, other side of the freeway. You see blue Hondas all of a sudden everywhere. They were already all over the road. Why do you see them all of a sudden? You ever notice that before? Because that's become important to you because it's part of your reticular activating system now. So what if you could program your mind that the blue Hondas of your life are your goals, your dreams, and your visions? And the way we do that is repeated thinking, looking at our goals, visualizing them, seeing them over and over again. So let me give you a couple tips to do that. Number 1, your smartphone you check about 400 times a day. 400. The most important thing you could do is on your screensaver, program the thoughts that would serve you, the goals that would serve you. That gives you 400 triggers a day. Every time you pick up this phone, you're looking at your blue Hondas. You're looking at what's most important to you. And what happens is when you put that down, the RAS begins unconsciously to help filter into your existence the people, the places, the conversations, the things that will help you materialize that space you've created with the thought. It fills it with the furniture of your life, the furniture, the people, places, and things. So the second thing is to program your phone with your goals and dreams. That's 400 triggers a day to begin to alter those 9% of your thoughts.
So positive thinking is very important. Of course, you want to clean out toxic beliefs, because in many ways your daily behavior shows your deepest beliefs, but you want to work on mindset along with your heart set, and then along with your health set. Sort of a new word I've been playing with, which is, of course, you want to take care of your health. Why? Because it'll give you more energy, it'll affect your brain in positive ways, it'll reduce stress, it'll make you more resilient, it'll give you more grit, but also it'll give you longevity. And just imagine if you had another 20 or 30 years of your life, what you could do in terms of your income, your impact, your influence. And then mindset and heart set and health set and then soul set. And soul set really is another word I've been playing with and teaching, but that's the fourth element really of a world-class interior life, because if you haven't worked on your soul set, your soul, your spiritual life, then you won't know some kind of a mighty mission or cause that's bigger than your ego. And if you haven't found that, then there's no way in the world you'd be able to take a bullet for that cause or that obsession that is important to you. And as I've often shared, until your mission becomes your obsession, your business will never rise into a movement. So I wanted to offer you those ideas, and I wanted to also remind you of a few things that deep within me I believe are very true. Number one, please remember, genius is less about your genetics and natural gifts, and it's more about your daily routines and your daily rituals, and filling your life with the right people, and filling your mind with the right information, and your heart with the right emotions. And we all can do this. I mean, it's one of the great sadnesses of the world that we pedestal these people who are living, great business lives, or great humanitarians, or great inventors. Like I was very blessed to spend some time with Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Inc. Last week. And what I learned from him was quite remarkable. And I learned in particular about his commitment to only release world-class products, but also to be a very humble human being, and to be a good person. And he said something when I interviewed him that I want to share with you. He said, when someone is bad to me, I'm good to them. That was a core philosophy. But again, if someone's bad to you, don't just shift to the positive thinking. Acknowledge if you're angry or sad or hurt or whatever. Acknowledge that so it doesn't stay toxic and repressed and suppressed in you, because that'll affect your performance and your thinking. Feel it and let it go. And then you shift to installing the right mindset. I hope that's making sense. But I know you can play a genius in your own unique way. I know that no matter what you're going through, whether it's good or not so good, it is for your good. I know that even if you're in a hard time of your life, you probably have 1,000 things you could be grateful for. But the human brain has this negativity bias, and it allowed us to survive thousands of years ago when there was a lot of threats in our environment. Now in this modern age, we live like kings and queens relative to how people lived hundreds of years ago. And yet our brain still focuses on what we don't have, and the negative qualities in other people, and what we wish we had. And you know this, but optically things on the outside look better in other people's lives, and we don't know what people are struggling with.